What's this? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new video. Today we'll be doing things a little bit differently. Today I will be reading to you a tale of revenge and entitlement. That's right, if you haven't guessed by the title of this video, I'm going to be reading to you a tale from one of Reddit's most popular subreddits on YouTube, r/ProRevenge. You see, the thing is, I've been wanting to do this for a while. In fact, the entire Reddit narration thing in general. It's because these days I've seen YouTube just absolutely cluttered with about 600 text-to-speech MLG Daniel Reddit narration channels, and to be quite frank, it's the same thing over and over again. There is no reason to go to any other channel because you will probably hear the same thing from those TTS channels over and over again. Fortunately, I'm not that type of person. I have printed out today's ProRevenge story, and I'm going to be reading it to you right now, face to face. This Reddit story is titled "The Case of the Pug Lady," written by user Queen Didon. I already apologize if I mispronounce your name, but anyway. Water. Let's get right into it. So, this is my first post here. Welcome to ProRevenge, OP. Enjoy your stay. But I think I read enough to want to share my encounter with an entitled bitch, also known as Pug Lady. Buckle up, friends, because this is a long one. So to set up the story, I had recently moved to a new town and got a job in a very low-key mall. During one of my first shifts, I had encountered the entitled, also known as Pug Lady. Spoiler alert, she had a pug, and that's why I nicknamed her that. Well, why else? Pug Lady told me all about how she was so poor and waiting for her welfare check and didn't have enough to feed her dog. But being the dog lover I am, I had bought her some wet food cans. My mother called me naive and stupid about it, and rightfully so, spoiler alert again. But again, being a dog person, I didn't care because at least I knew that sweet pug had something to eat. You see, this is the beginning of manipulation. You feign being poor and not even being able to feed your own dog, but God knows how long this has been going through. But of course, you're so easily manipulating dog lovers like OP, and look what happened. It's working. So far, it's working. Good fucking job, entitled bitch. Or I mean Pug Lady. I'm so gonna get demonetized even though I don't even make a fucking cent off of YouTube anymore. Anyway, let's continue. I didn't have to deal with her much for a few years, not working too many shifts, but I often saw her wandering around the mall. She seemed harmless enough. Yep, told you. About a year after I started, the owners sold the store to someone else. The previous owners were stingy and a bit rough around the edges, so their attitude had driven a lot of customers away. The new owner was an absolutely adorable man who was always breaking his back to satisfy all the customers. Essentially, he was a people pleaser, and that's not really a good thing. The sale resulted in 2 of my coworkers leaving, making me the one with the most experience. I started picking up more shifts and eventually took up more responsibilities. Hope you're doing alright, OP. Because that can be tough. Working in retail myself, it's happened to me. The new owner's kindness resulted in Pug Lady coming in again, especially since the previous owner would ban most dogs, but the new one didn't, as he used to bring his own golden retriever to work. Now at first, the Pug Lady was a very nice woman, obviously, though her heavy size meant that she was often coated in some sort of white residue and had a rather foul odor that made our wait, what? Oh god, that's disgusting. And had a rather foul odor that made our other customers run away from her. Imagine standing around that woman for at least 5 minutes. I'm pretty sure someone would have already called like 5 janitors to clean up the vomit. Eventually, she figured out that my boss was a sweetheart, so she laid it thick on him. She would often tell him about how poor she was, how she was so dependent on that wellness program because her size handicapped her, and that she was awaiting an operation to lose that weight that she couldn't seem to lose otherwise. I don't want to imagine that. My boss, mostly wanting her out of the store so our regular clientele could come back, sympathized with her. She managed to convince him, while I was not at work, to let her take packs of cigarettes in advance and that she would pay him back once the check came in. I mean, that is such a common tactic for most people that just want to have free stuff. Just tell them that you'll be paying them once the money comes in. But when is that money going to come in the first place? In 24 hours? 48 hours? 3 days? A week? No one knows. But let us continue. Now, Pug Lady wasn't the only customer my extremely naive boss offered to do this for. A lot of our customers were elderly and also dependent on government programs. The other 2 customers were nice enough, although one had a reputation for being a thief around the mall, which led me to keep a closer eye on him. I constantly tried to stop my boss from offering this deal because it could have easily gone wrong, especially since my coworkers could barely keep an eye on the cash register. And even then, he did warn Pug Lady and the other 2 customers that they were only allowed to borrow the packs from him and him only. So even though I was technically his assistant manager, I would not be allowed to give him cigarette packs if they asked me. Which is totally understandable because, you know, I guess they trust the boss more, and I'm probably sure that he's the one that keeps the counts of cigarette packs. And since this is such a risky operation, he doesn't trust anyone else to do it, just himself, which I can totally get behind. And this brings us to the entitled moment of the Pug Lady. One Sunday, as I was preparing to open, she comes in before the designated time when our doors were unlocked for safety reasons, but not open. I had an inkling of what was going to happen, but I let her talk anyway. Our conversation went as follows. Years later, I still remember it pretty well because it made no sense and was one of the more ridiculous conversations I had with a customer. I already feel bad for Opie, but let's keep going.
I wanted to know if I could have one more pack since I really need it. And I get my welfare check tomorrow, so I would pay your boss then.
I'm sorry, but as you have been made aware, only my boss is allowed to give you cigarette packs nowadays.
Yes, but I need it now, and surely he trusts you enough to give me some.
Maybe, but he told me that only he could give you some. Besides, you already owe him an entire carton, so I feel like you should pay him back before you can ask for more.
Well then, call your boss and he will tell you to give me some. I get the check tomorrow, so I'll come straight in the morning to pay.
I'm sorry, but it's his one day off during the entire week and has been reserved by his family. I won't contact him unless it's an emergency, and you wanting cigarettes the day before you're supposed to pay him back does not constitute one. I'm sure that he'll be happy to give you some tomorrow once you pay him back.
Don't call your boss now! I want to talk to him right this instant! You are being really rude to me.
Once again, I will not call him during his one day off. I'm sorry you are perceiving me as rude, but I'd like you to leave the store right now so I can finish opening, and I invite you to come back tomorrow to see him.
But I need my cigarettes right now! Call your boss this instant, or I will get you fired!
For the last time, I will not call my boss, but you're welcome to complain about my attitude tomorrow when you come pay what you owe him and get another pack. Now, please leave the store, or I will be forced to call mall security and have you escorted. Please note that we did not have actual security. It was the handyman that served that purpose.
I will not pay until he has you fired. You clearly do not understand what it's like To be addicted to something, it needs something.
I'm sorry you feel this way, and I can assure you that I completely understand what addiction looks like and feels like as it runs in my family. Again, I invite you to come back tomorrow to discuss the situation and iron out all the details.
Oh no, I am not coming back here until you are fired and have apologized for being such a bitch to me. I would give him 1 cent until you are gone. I am leaving. Goodbye, sir.
Well, okay. Entitled customer who owes us an unknown amount of money. This is crazy. And on that note, she leaves the store with a walker, chair, and her dog in a huff. I immediately call my boss to apologize for the situation getting out of hand and to know what to do. To my surprise, he tells me that he doesn't want her back as she is more trouble than she is worth and that she can keep her cigarettes, but she is now banned from the store in case she tries to pull something with my colleagues. He thanks me for refusing to call him as he had been hiding around the store whenever he saw her. Go figure. But the story does not end there, friends. Oh, it does not. Pug Lady was not one to give up. See, my boss and I were very proud of the fact that we had the lowest prices for cigarettes in the neighborhood. He had made various deals with companies and we were always capable of getting them for discount so we could lower our prices as much as we could. We knew this, our customers knew this, and Pug Lady knew this. Scared that we would make her pay what she owed, she started sending clients in to buy her favorite brand of cigarettes while spewing lies about her. Apparently, we hated her dog, had been abusive towards him. When I bought fancy dog treats for the one that did come inside the store, so much that dogs would lead their owners inside the stores for a treat before any other shopping could be done. Dogs are very smart, people. Dogs are very smart. And much more. I thought it was strange that she didn't visit the other 2 places that sold cigarettes, but again, we did have the lowest prices. After a while, I caught on to Pug Lady's scheme to get cigarettes and refused to sell them to the people she sent in. Not only would I tell them the full story, but I will also explain that I legally could not allow anybody to buy cigarettes for someone waiting for them outside, as they could have been easily buying for minors, which is understandable. Most people will go back to her and give her back her money and leave it at that. Some would insist, but once again, I would note that I had no idea who they were buying for, and that would require me to see the ID of that mysterious person. I even instructed my colleagues to do the same with the backing of our boss. This infuriated her as she could no longer get her cigarette fix unless she was willing to pay just a little more. She even screamed insults at my colleagues when they refused to sell her anything, going as far as screaming, "Oh, is it because you have AIDS?" to one of them. At that point, my patience had already reached its limits. Okay, so picture this for a minute. You are already in a bad standing with this specific store. What makes you think screaming insults at colleagues who have nothing to do with it? How do you think that's going to help your case? Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Neither do you, little fly. I don't know where you went, but you didn't help my case either. I had worked in that mall for a couple of years at that point and was not only well known, but also well liked by my customers, some of which had their very own encounter with Pug Lady. A fair number of them told me stories they heard of her scamming others and even getting banned from other stores, including local grocery stores, for thieving and scamming people. I honestly wouldn't put it past her at this point. I compiled everything I knew and decided it was time to act once I heard that she was making up rumors about us and had also threatened one of the mall's handymen and his children. Now, isn't that going a little too far? Threatening security and even their kids? Come on, you have to be some special kind of insane. From that point on, I made a point to contact every victim of hers and get them to file complaints against her with the mall. I also filed one as a commerce and as someone having been scammed. I campaigned hard to get the other store owners to file complaints as well regarding everything she put them through. Towards the end, it was a well-known fact that I was campaigning to have her banned. She had scammed elderly people out of thousands of dollars by having them buy her groceries with the promise of payback, only to avoid them and never show up when she was supposed to pay them back. Again, go figure. She even played the card again and again. She would also threaten store employees and let her dog do his business freely in the mall while getting mad at anybody. Oh my god, that is peak entitlement. That is peak entitlement. Seriously? Again, brings me back to my previous point. How is this going to help your case, woman? This goes beyond insane. You're fucking stupid. It all culminated in one fateful day when I came in and saw an envelope with my name on it delivered by the mall. They had finally banned her from the mall and encouraged anybody seeing her to call the cops, as she had been warned not to set foot on the premises again. Knowing her history, they had made sure to give me my very own copy of the ban letter. I only saw her once afterwards, and she immediately left when she saw me. We also learned later on that she had been poaching cigarettes from multiple customers of ours, including my boss's wife, by complaining about being too poor to afford an entire pack on her own. The total of what she owed us was about $80 to $85, by the way. Had she paid it off, I would have probably let her stay in the mall. A little recap of the story. Some woman tries to scam my boss for around $80 or so, meets his guard dog, mall customers give me that nickname, who eventually gets her banned from an entire mall because she had been scamming mall customers for thousands of dollars. Have fun in jail. This was a wild ride. This story was one wild ride. It really makes you think. The lengths that some people go to not pay some money. I understand $80 is no small amount, in the United States at least, but how are you going to scam people for even more than that? Heck, thousands of dollars as mentioned in the story. And you're going to go that far. Just how? I don't understand people sometimes. And besides, insulting OP's colleagues, threatening security, mall security, and basically defacing mall property by letting your dog do his business around the mall. Just, again, how do you think that's going to help your case? How? This is just a massive case of entitlement, and it's sad that people just stoop to that level. It disgusts me. It really disgusts me. Anyway, I really hope that woman ended up in jail, because that's probably the best place she would have gone. Probably like 3 to 5 years. Probably would have gotten a felony or something. Anyway, that's it for our Reddit story. I want to give a big thank you to OP, Queen Didon. Again, I apologize for butchering your name if I did. I will leave a link to her Reddit profile and the original story in the description down below. This was a ProRevenge story that I read out loud right in front of you. This was me trying something different, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more of this type of content on YouTube, please feel free to hit the like button. And if you want to see more of what I normally do on YouTube, feel free to hit that subscribe button if it still means something, even though I've hidden my subscriber count because YouTube just went insane with me.
1 out of 5, how would you rate this girl?
Let's see. Personally, I would rate it 5 out of 0. Needs more anime titties.
Kill yourself.